And a big good evening to you, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to RTA Virtual Motorsports. It's the RTA Super Formula Light series here on Gantry TV. And as always, it is a pleasure to welcome you to one of the world's finest racing circuits. On this week's agenda, it is the Autodromo Internazionale Enzo E. Dino Ferrari, or as we're going to call it for the remainder of this broadcast, Imola. And Imola is very much soaked today. We are going to have an absolute fabulous evening. You can see the weather conditions there on your screen. You can also see the two fabulous men I am joined by. It is Ronan and Hederman behind the scenes, but alongside me in the box, it is the fabulous Kieran McGinley. Kieran, one, as always, how are you doing? Two, are you looking forward to this evening? Because I certainly am.
Well, one, I'm very well. Thank you very much. Thank you for asking. And two, yes, a smattering of rain has befelled the Imola circuit, and we're in for a bit of a boat race, hopefully, for the remainder of the evening. We're just heading towards the end of practice, and there are some high-profile drivers that have been making mistakes. The rain has got worse over this entire practice session, so we're not going to see many improvements. But yeah, it's fair to say that some drivers have pumped in 38 laps just to make sure that they've got enough practice here, as we see Ronan really try to get the way through. It really will be powerboat racing out there, and I'm all here for it. It will be our second wet race, I believe, here. You can correct me if I'm wrong, Evan, here at RTA, and I'm very much looking forward to it.
No, yeah, definitely. Our second wet race, certainly in the main series. I'm not sure if the endurance series had a bit of rain on it, but certainly it is our second wet race here. We had Donington Park. There was some rumours that we were supposed to get at the Virginia International Raceway, but good old Met Aaron failed us again on that regard. But it is certainly soaked here in Imola. You can see the practice times there in the top left. We've been watching it for the last 10 minutes, and Ronan has been watching it for longer than 10 minutes, and we can confirm they mean literally nothing. This track is in a diabolical state of affairs, and if I was Stefano Domenicali, who, fun fact, was born in the town of Imola, grew up in the town of Imola, I would be probably cancelling a Formula 1 race. But here at RTA, we're going to keep the ball moving, we're going to keep racing, and we're going to have a very intriguing qualifying session and three very, very difficult races, because these are conditions that drivers don't really ever want to race in, Kieran, but some certainly relish the opportunity.
Oh, you're absolutely going to have your wet weather warriors out there. And, I mean, there are worse conditions to race in than this. Believe it or not, the drivers I speak to around the circus normally say the greasy conditions, the bit between completely bone dry and just for sort of the intermediate conditions where you start to think about needing cut tyres or full wet tyres. That's the worst one. This is probably second worst, where there is just not really a lot of grip out there, but at least you know there's no grip out there. These practice sessions are all about finding out where the grip isn't, so that you know for qualifying in the race, at least to avoid those parts of the circuits. We see Conor Melia is making his way now through out of Piratella and then downwards towards Acqua Minerale. And here is such a treacherous bit of track. It is tricky in the dry to, perform the trail braking needed to make it through this corner quickly. You add a bit of water to the mix, and that corner becomes very, very treacherous. It's probably one of the most difficult corners, or at least series of corners, we'll have on the calendar thus far, especially with these wet weathers. But as we see there, the intervals you can see up and down the order. I mean, the last lap time from Dylan McClements was a 1 minute 54. His fastest is a 1:51. So the track's been steadily getting worse and worse over the period of time. So take these times with a pinch of salt, as Conor Melia really struggling to actually turn the car into the first part of Ravata. Just shows you how tricky it's going to be for the rest of the evening.
Yeah, when you see drivers struggling in practice, you know that it's going to be difficult. As one American coach, can't remember who's American football, and I said, are we talking about practice? Yes, we are talking about practice, because it means a lot here. They've had an hour and a half of it this evening. They had a lot more of it yesterday as well, and it's all going to count for qualifying and the race performances that these drivers produce. We're looking at Conor Melia there. Speaking of him, big congratulations to Conor Melia, who picked up his first overall podium in the Irish Formula V Championship at the ICC all-round in Mondello Park at the weekend. Conor, fairly quick around the national circuit, it seems. We'll be looking forward to see what he can produce on the international circuit, and of course when we head back to Kyrgyzstan. But Qualifying for our action here at Imola is just about getting underway. We can see the drivers filing out 15 minutes. That's not a lot of time to get one good lap in. Usually we think 15 minutes is loads of time in a dry condition, but Kieran, to nail the perfect lap in these sort of conditions, especially when they are changing a bit, is also difficult to do.
Yeah, I mean, with these fast lap times coming in, and we've already got a spinner coming out of the pit lane. In fact, that's out of Tamburello there, as we see him try to reverse out and rejoin onto the circuit. I think that is Kamto Chukra, who Ronan has just pointed out is the number 13 car. So yes, it is Kamto there. And another spinner, again out of Tamburello. I mean, these drivers are struggling on the out lap of the very first lap of qualifying. Another spinner coming out of Tosa then. I think these 4 or 5 spins just in this outlap alone is a good summary. A little bit of a switch there. Yeah, this might be a good summary of how this qualifying might go down.
Yeah. When drivers are sort of spinning on outlaps, you kind of get maybe a mildly bit concerned for them. Certainly the viewers at home won't be, and of course if you're watching at home, make sure to pop a subscription on Gantry TV, as well as check out RTAvirtualmotorsport.com if you're interested in joining the series. Don't know why what we've seen so far this evening would encourage you to do so, because that's free cars off at Aqua Minerale turn number 12, but make sure to do get your thoughts and stuff in as well. Me and Kieran, we love talking away, but we love hearing your opinions equally as much, so do make sure to pop them in the stream chat as well. I believe that's actually I believe it is on YouTube and Facebook, so you can do it on both. There is one of the McClemon's cars just blinking into the final chicane, so we hope that he is okay internet wise for the remainder of the evening. Certainly it's not looking like a lot of these drivers will be okay mentally wise after this evening, because this is going to be a test for both man and machine. You can see the man on your screen now, that is Lawrence de Sosma. Great to have Lawrence back here. He had a good start to the season actually, but wasn't available in Virginia International Raceway due to some form of an arm injury, so we hope Lawrence is recovering okay. Certainly back out on the track now, probably wishing he had an excuse not to be there. But 2 minutes and 30 into qualifying, first few laps starting now.
Yeah, and this is the part of the issue for these drivers. Some of these outlaps have taken nearly 3 minutes with all the spins taken account for. When you get to those fast laps where you're just shy of 2 minutes, you're looking at, as you say, that's about 5 laps maybe. You might sneak a 6th in if you're lucky, and that's if you fueled for it as well. So yeah, not a lot of chances to get a lap time, a good lap time on the board, as I believe it was Sean McClemens who was first across the line, but I'm happy to be corrected by that by the timing screens below. And looking at it, it's actually Ronan Doherty who leads the way, so he snuck under my radar, did Ronan Doherty. But we see here Sean McClemens make his way now down in towards Aqua Minerale, and look at that stretch. You're avoiding some of these curbs like the plague, and then embracing some of them with the biggest hug you've ever given anybody, as we head our way down towards the Variante Alta. That's so many purples and greens lighting up the screens at the bottom of them. But Ronan Doherty is leading the charge. He'll be, well, you'd think, first towards the start-finish line, so long as he keeps it all up in wraps as he makes his way now down in towards Ravazza, then through in towards turn 18, then sizing up turn 19 as we get back onto the power as early as you dare, because then you're trying to find the shortest run to the line around the curve here of turns 20, and just sneaks into turn 21 as you make your way across the line. Ronan Doherty will set the first lap of the qualifying session, so 1 minute 55.9.
Yes, a very good lap indeed from Ronan to get one on the board that early on. I think it's about time, though, folks, where we take you a little bit deeper into the cockpits, and the man who's just gone quickest now, the man who's taken every pole position this season, yes, every pole position this season, as well as every race one win, Jordan Kelly has provided us with one of his fabulous hot laps once again, which we can have a look at now. Inside these cars in a rain-soaked Imola is not one of life's easier accomplished feats. In towards turn number 1, then you've got to try avoid that left inside curve as much as you can. Jordan takes a little bit of it here. This was in slightly drier conditions than what we have now. This is not a live on board, but you head down towards the Variante Villeneuve, and this is where the interesting lines sort of come into play. You can see Jordan flicks it in there, bumps over a bit of the sausage curb, and then can take that one on the outside as well as run down towards Tosa. This is where a move around the outside is a go. Well, maybe not if you're Juan Pablo Montoya, but Jordan Kelly taking a very wide line, just like Montoya was on that day, up towards Piratella. As you can see, with no car in front, it's fairly difficult. You can only imagine how difficult Piratella will become with a bit of a spray in front of you, but wide through there, and this is the corner where all the problems will arise for these drivers tonight. Aqua Minerale, a double apex right-hander, first downhill, then uphill, in towards another sweeping left. Traction is oh so difficult out of that corner in dry conditions, especially in these wet conditions. Variante Alta then. Usually you'd see a Formula 1 car bounce over the curbs here, but these drivers will have to sort of avoid that this evening, as there may be some pools of water just building up on the left and right hand sides of those curves. Then it's down towards Ravazza, which can be an overtaking zone. I'm not sure if anyone will be willing to risk it on the brakes this evening, but you're forward on the right hand side. You're just about managing the car, getting a little bit of rotation in the brakes, save the car through there. You can see someone off on the left hand side. Just manage it round turn number 18. Don't get too eager on the power. Some drivers can just slam the throttle because they can see the start finish line, spin up the rears, spin out. Jordan Kelly doesn't do that, and I tell you what, he makes it look a lot easier than it is, Kieran.
Absolutely, and he's making it look easy on the timing screens as well, because as we've rejoined, 1 minute 52.9 from Jordan Kelly is our new fastest lap of the day, of qualifying at the very least, with Dylan McClements 1.1 seconds back, and that's a spinner right ahead of Jordan Kelly, and going through in towards the Variante Villeneuve, as there are easier opportunities to see someone spin than Variante Villeneuve. There are worse places for that to happen, but yes, we see then Sean McGoldrick and that almost early 2000s inspired. Yeah, it is early 2000s. It is Montoya-esque. I still maintain that Schumacher didn't see him, but that's holding on to that. Sean McGoldrick maybe didn't see the back end slipping out from underneath him, but manages to catch it there and save the car at least for another flying lap. Have to bail out of that lap though and start all over again. Jordan Kelly, meanwhile, is just picking up that gauntlet once again. He's setting a few fast first sectors.
Yeah, well held there by Sean McGoldrick. Held the brakes nicely. Speaking of holding the brakes, I'd say poor Rob Parks and the rest of the stewards had an absolute seizure seeing Carlos Sainz not hold his brakes in Canada. Just wanted to mention that, because that was the first thing I thought of when I saw that incident, was RTA Virtual Motorsport. But Jordan Kelly flying as per usual. That's nothing new to the imagination. In towards the final couple of corners now. He's been purple in 3 of his 4 completed sectors so far, and I imagine he's going to go purple in the 5th. Currently, well, he's almost he is over a full second on pole position, almost 2. Is it going to become 2 now? Up and across the start finish line. It's a 1:53 flat, so that's actually, no, he's improved to a 52 flat. Now he is very much far ahead of the field. Finley Melvin slotting into 4th. That's a great lap from young Finley. Ronan Doherty jumping up to 2nd, nudges him down a spot. But is Finley Melvin maybe the kind of driver, Kieran, that we'll see emerge at the top of the order here tonight? Usually, when it rains, you kind of get someone near the top that we don't see when it's bone dry.
Yeah, that famous phrase of when it rains, it pours, but maybe that will play into Finley Melvin's hands in that ING-inspired 2008 Renault livery. Yes, you do get your wet weather warriors. They do emerge from the water and really take a hold in races like these, and where some drivers do start to struggle because the wet weather does open up that challenge, other drivers really embrace it. They love the fact that there is less grip out there. They love those conditions, and it allows them to just build the confidence. And for some, confidence might be drained on a wet circuit because of the lack of grip, because you feel like the car's a little bit twitchy. But for some, they absolutely love it. Speaking of someone who's absolutely loving it, first 2 sectors for Dylan McClements were fastest. We'll keep an eye on him and see what he can do in the closing stages of this lap.
Drained on a wet circuit. Bars Eminem is jealous of. Well done, Kieran McGinley. Dylan McClements in towards the final corner now. Let's see. Look at the drivers as well. They're not taking a traditional out to in line. Probably because of the puddles on the outside of that corner. A little bit wide for Dylan, but again, could be tactical. He was quickest in the practice session. Of course, those times were a little bit skewed because of the conditions getting worse and worse. But we'll still await and see if Dylan can improve across the start-finish line. He's crossed it now. We'll wait for the time to check in. He has improved. Almost identical to his cousin Ronan Doherty. They're both in the 52.7s. but Dylan slightly slower. Still very far off Jordan Kelly as Ronan has come across the line. McGoldrick improves to 5th. Doherty with no improvement on that occasion. Alexander Milchin as well, sitting a happy 6th. Alex managed to break his own curse, and he managed to take his first top 5 finish ever in RTA last week around Virginia International Raceway. That was, of course, in the second heat where he finished 5th. But Alexander Milchin has finished 3rd in the championship, but has not finished on the podium yet in RTA. So we'll be looking to break that here this evening. A man who was quite good in Donington Park when it rained as well. So I'll be keen to keep an eye out for Alex.
Absolutely, and there was a slight bit of heartbreak for you when that stat was eventually proved not to be true anymore. Evan. I sort of felt it in your voice that it was never going to be the same again. But no, it just proves to you that Alexander Milchin is a very consistent driver. The fact that he finished top 3 in a championship, hasn't been on a podium so far, just shows you how consistent he is within the points. When others start to falter around other circuits, he seems to do just the right job at every single circuit. So a very consistent driver is Alexander Milchin. Finley Melvin in the pits then. We'll see if he does re-emerge. Jordan Kelly re-emerging then, but then back to the pits. So we'll keep an eye on Jordan Kelly, see if he fancies one more attempt. Then there he is in the pits, and I assume that is him saying that he might be done for this evening, perhaps at least in qualifying. Showing his pit exit right now, so we'll keep an eye on it. He might have one more lap in him. We'll see how it goes. Here's Ronan Doherty then, who's been improving on his own time through the latter stages of this lap. And let's see then as he powers his way now towards the start-finish line. Can Ronan Doherty to cut down on the gap? He's been slowly eating into that gap between himself and Jordan Kelly. Let's see as he crosses the line what sort of lap time he is going to set. It's a 52.5, which puts him within 0.6 of a second now, as there's a bit of a spinner coming out of the Variante Alta as we watch on from Kamto Chukura, currently in the top 10 right now, but Connor Melia up now into 8th place with a 154.7. And in the closing stages of qualifying here, if you're crossing the line now, really this is your last chance to get an improvement on the board. There's someone facing backwards, and that is not what Connor Melia wanted to see coming out of the first chicane there.
That's a VRA livery, which means it's Brian McManus who unfortunately has spun there. He's 9th, just ahead of Kamto in 10th. 10th in qualifying. It was 10th in qualifying. 7th in qualifying for Kamto Chukua now as he improves to a 54.4. 10th in the standings still for Kamto. They're only 5 points behind Milchin, so that could be a ding-dong battle for 6th and 7th. Here's Sean McClemens crossing the start-finish line. Unusually down the order was McClemens until he put in that lap. 54.6 for Sean McClemens. Jumps up to 9th, still behind Melvin. So he might like to have one more go here as he heads in towards the Variante Tamburello. I was about to call that Parabolica. That would have been a blunder and a half. This is Peter McCann heading in towards the final couple of corners in an unusual red and white pinstripe livery. I will let you read what's on the side of that car to yourselves. But he wants to get that on the podium. That's what he wanted to do at Virginia, but it was taken off him on the last lap in an insane fight with Jordan Kelly. Still, he is currently 12th in qualifying, getting a bit of a toe in towards the first corner. Kieran, is a toe really the best thing you want when there's that much water vapour being chucked back onto you?
It's not ideal, but any toe is a good toe, as long as it's in a straight line, of course. But yeah, it looks like there Peter McCann has backed out of that lap, so qualifying is done and dusted for him. Ronan Doherty across the line. Is there any improvement on this lap? No, there is not. Stays as a 52.580 and keeps a hold of second place. Sean McGoldrick had a decent middle sector. He's come across the line. Does he get set an improvement there? 1 minute 54.0, still his best time so far. And I just think the track might have got slightly worse as we head towards the back end of this session. Either that or drivers are pushing extremely hard and the track just is not rewarding that right now. Here comes Kamto Chukra across the line and currently 7th fastest. Can he maybe sneak up onto the 3rd row of the grid and get ahead of Alexander Milchin? Yes, he can. Up to the 3rd row he goes then, does Chukra, as Alexander Milchin has a chance to respond here. How's his lap time looking? A decent opening to the lap, but slower than his own personal best on the rest of it. Let's see as he makes his way towards the line. No, he's not. He might not, no. So He will start in 7th place then, and just meters away from the line, he'll have to start on the 4th row again. But it seems to be, it's that man on pole again, Evan.
Yes, Jordan Kelly takes his 5th pole of the season. Can't believe I'm saying that, but it is true. Jordan Kelly, and he does this one in unbelievable fashion. It seems like whether it's rain, sleet, or snow, it is the Jordan Kelly show. He starts ahead of Ronan Doherty in 2nd, and Dylan McClements in 3rd. Then Rory O'Shea in 4th, a man who we've not really mentioned. He was on for a big points haul. Beat Jordan Kelly last week during Jordan's misfortune, but unfortunately Jordan came back to beat him. Then just below Rory O'Shea, it is Sean McGoldrick, first time winner in the Super Formula Lights last week. Then it is Camto Chukwa and of Alexander Milchin, Finlay Melvin, Sean McClements and Conor Melia in 10th.
Yeah, absolutely. And then it's Brian McManus in 11th, Jamal Gandor in 12th place, Peter McCann in 13th, with Tony Stack in 14th, William Fei Chan in 15th place, John McDonald 16th, Colin Reagan in 17th place, David Prunty in 18th place, with Philip Upson in 19th, and Simran Takar rounding off the top 20.
Yeah, and then a quick run through. It is Lawrence de Salsa in 21st, ahead of Brereton, Murphy, Corcoran. Then Sebastian Schloten is in 25th. Then if we take a quick... Oh, no, sorry. We only have 25 here this evening. But that is Sebastian Schloten, unfortunately, on the back row. This Irish broadcast does not like seeing that Portuguese flag at the minute. If you're watching RTA instead of the match, it's currently 3-0. You will want to stick here with RTA. But we're heading to the grid now, Kieran, and I tell you what, it's looking a little bit drier, but still difficult conditions.
Yeah, if you don't like the word Cristiano Ronaldo, just brace yourself at this point. But
Yeah,
anyway, round 5. We are at the halfway point of the RTA Virtual Motorsports Super Formula Light Series, and it's time to get underway.
Yes, it is Kelly and Doherty on the front row once again, but it's going to be a difficult pull away from a soaked Imola grid as we go racing here in Italy. It's a horrendous start for Dylan McClements. He's bogged down off the line and he will be losing positions. It's a brilliant start for the hybrid of Rory O'Shea. Down in towards the first corner, Kelly on the inside, Doherty on the outside, Kelly in the green and black, Doherty in the grey, and it's going to be Jordan Kelly who is up ahead of Ronan Doherty, heading down towards the Varante Viola for the first time. There's a car gone round, that is Conor Melia. It is the podium man from Mondello. He's not having the luck here in Imola. He falls down below, ahead, behind Lawrence de Salsa, I should say, in towards the Varante Vilna for the first time. Jamal Gandor, I tell you what, he's had an absolute cracker of a start. The 961 sits 7th, ahead of Sean McClements in 8th.
There's Sean McGoldrick then going up the inside of Tosa, then of Jamal Gandor, and tries to get the power down, but then starts to lose the back end. That's going to allow Jamal Gandor to try and see if he can sneak a move up the inside then. He's going to have to hack it on the inside as we head our way through in towards Piratella then. And normally you take this at some speed, but you have to slow the car all the way down. And there's battling going up ahead because Ronan Doherty has got into the lead, but Jordan Kelly has a big moment there going in towards Aqua Minerale. I think he just about recovered from that one, but might lose a bit of momentum to the likes of Sean McGoldrick and Dylan McClements, who will be trying to hard charge his way back up the order to try and claim back where he started as we head away for the first time in towards the Variante Alta.
Yes, Jordan Kelly having a bit of a moment here in this opening lap. Jamal Gandor, he's had a bit of a moment as well. I was just about to comment on his fast start, but he has slid behind behind Alexander Milchin, I should say. He's behind Camto Chukwa as well. He's now behind Brian McManus in a similar coloured livery to Camto. Oh, look at that! That's Jordan Kelly, the championship leader, who is once again involved in a controversial incident. Jordan Kelly has not lost Heat 1 once this season. It's all slipping away now.
Well, is it going to be the case of Heat 3 once again, where he's going to have to get a wounded car to the line? Let's see what happened then with Jordan Kelly. This was making our way then down towards Rivazza, and of course he's having to hard charge his way through the field. And there's a bit of a moment from the second place car for Rory O'Shea, and they just collide in the first part of Rivazza. So it was Rory O'Shea, he ran deep into the first part of Rivazza. That sort of started that little bit of a reaction.
Yes, Rory O'Shea second in the championship, chasing Jordan Kelly, and now they have come to blows. I don't think it was certainly nothing intentional by Rory O'Shea of that regard, but it has sent Jordan Kelly down behind John McDonald. Ironically, the man he dropped behind last week in Virginia International Raceway when he got into misfortune there. But that's changed up the order a little bit up top. It is Ronan Doherty who's pulling away from the front now, 2.4 ahead of Rory O'Shea. Sean McGoldrick then in third. Dylan McClements in fourth, recovering after what can only be described as a horrific start for him. Kamto Chukwa in 5th, Sean McClements in 6th. Look at this. This is Jordan Kelly and John McDonald. Jordan just bided his time last week to get past John McDonald. There's no hanging about now. You've got 7 minutes. Let's get something out of this race, will be the mindset in that Team Dolan car. And it seems like Rory O'Shea is having some troubles of his own. He's been overtaken by Kamto Chukwa.
Yeah, I wonder if Rory O'Shea has some damage here as he tries to get up the inside there of the Variante Alta against Kamto Chukwa. No way through there. I wonder if that incident between himself and Jordan Kelly has cost a little bit of damage there as Sean McClements goes a little bit of rallycross. And there's an incident. It's Tony Stack who's lost a front wing in the Buzzin' Hornet Jordan Team Whiskey car.
Yeah, it seems like Colin O'Regan was involved in that one. Jamal Cantor has certainly gone slipping down the field as well, but disappointing for Tony, who qualified well in that Team Whiskey car. He might need some of that substance after that incident, but let's have a look then at the Gantry TV replay. This is Jamal Cantor. We saw heading out of Variante Alta on the opening lap. He had a bit of trouble, and you can see here, is it going to be a spin under his own accord, and then Tony unfortunately drives into the scene of the accident. It's the exact same again. He's had some trouble. Oh, Tony, to be fair to Jamal, he did try to get out of the way, and there was actually a separate incident involving O'Regan and McDonald in the background, I think. But to be fair to Jamal, he was trying to pull out of the way of Tony Stack, probably expecting the inevitable, but it just all came to blows too quickly for the Kerry man, and Tony Stack now has no front wing, and he's down in 14th.
Yeah, and has to go all the way around to just try and get back to the pits. But meanwhile, Ronan Doherty has really kept his head down and just focused on him. He's built a 4.6 second lead against Sean McGoldrick. This is Jordan Kelly-esque pace that we've seen so far this season. And Ronan Doherty is really just pulling out all the stops to see if he can get away then. Sean McGoldrick now is in 2nd place with Dylan McClements right behind him. Rory O'Shea is struggling out there, and he's got 2 cars behind him in Kamto Chukwa and Alexander Milton. In fact, Brian McManus has joined the fray as well in that battle for 4th place as Sean McGoldrick runs a little bit deep there. Dylan McClements thought he saw an opening and then lost the back end himself, so they both lost time there to Ronan Doherty as there's a little bit of a Constantina effect between that battle there. Sean McClements fights his way through. He's now up into 5th place ahead of Kamto Chukwa and Alexander Milchan. Jordan Kelly's now onto the back of this queue for what is now the battle for 5th place, and Rory O'Shea has some breathing space.
Yes, Jordan Kelly very late in the breaks into the Variante Alta. In all honesty, I expected him to go barreling through Milchan and Chukwa in front, and there'd be 3 cars on that grass section. But Kelly is going to go try around the outside here. Milchan just backs off and just lets him through. I know we mentioned Montoya earlier, but Montoya used to hate when drivers did that for the championship leader. Jordan Kelly is certainly not going to have any complaints at this point in time. Kamto Chukwa just in front of him. I think Kamto might try to fight Jordan a little bit more. Whether he has an option to do so, that is another question, because Jordan Kelly is a man on a mission. He is possessed for success here in heat number 1 of the 5th round of the season here on Gantry TV. You can see him up the inside now of Kamto Chukwa, and that is job done. I think Jordan just a little bit more confident on the brakes there, or Kamto lifting off slightly early. But good races nonetheless from Kamto Chukwa. He doesn't really need to be getting involved in fights with the championship leader.
No, he knows where his battles is, and he knows that Jordan Kelly is not going to be the special on the menu today, maybe later on down the line. But look at that, Jordan Kelly's already pulled a second over Kamto there, so Jordan Kelly now can press on and see what he can do against Sean McClements as he now heads into Tosa. Dylan McClements just putting the pressure on Sean McGoldrick. Meanwhile then we see Conor Melia getting up the inside there of John McDonald in a battle for 16th place here at Villeneuve, and he has to go the long way round in the second half, but Conor Melia does get the move done. He moves now up into 16th place, and there's David Prunty here, and Jordan Kelly's had a moment because he's now all the way back down into 11th place.
He is, after the good work in getting past Kamto Chukwa. Kamto had the last laugh because Kelly is back behind David Prunty now, and that's another error for Kelly, easily made in these conditions. Let's have a look on the replay.
Yeah, let's have a look. So this is Peter McCann then. So this is a separate incident, and then we see Jordan Kelly coming out of Tosa then. He loses it on the half spin on the exit of Tosa. Then he has to recover it. So he did well to catch the spin, but look at that, lost a lot of time and is now outside of that top 10. And as you said, Evan, all that hard work he put in trying to get himself back up the order, up into 6th place, he's now got, just over 2 minutes now to try and get his way back up the order, as that's Wing Fei Chan facing the wrong way as he's dropping now down the order, as he has had a spin, just trying to figure out where that is out on circuit. Is
Out
that
of Tamburello, I think.
It is. I think you're right.
No, completely wrong.
Arianti Alta then.
Alta. That is a misplaced Wing Fei Chan along the circuit here in Imola. It's just spun it on his own. We're hearing unfortunate for the number 11. You can see Jamal Gandor here in a fight with Conor Melia. This is a fight that we don't see often in RTA, these two going side by side, but certainly one I'm intrigued for down towards turn number 1. Seems like Melia is just going to be able to get it done ahead of Jamal Gandor. Is Jamal going to keep it down the inside, though? He absolutely is. Brave on the brakes for Jamal Gandor, but there was no avenue of opportunity there for him, and Conor Melia will get up in front. Jordan Kelly back up to 9th. He's got past David Prunty, but certainly it is looking like it is going to be a low point score for him in this opening heat.
It is indeed, and it's just something you're just going to have to press on with and hope that you can improve on that next time around. Meanwhile then, Alexander Milchin in these closing stages here as Dylan McClements is dropping down the order. That's out of Aqua Minerale. So Dylan McClements, who was running in second, now down to 4th place. Let's have a replay of what happened here.
Yeah, let's have a look then. This is Dylan McClements heading down to Aqua Minerale. This is the corner where we said it's going to be difficult. Has he just gone skating out of this corner? Well, close enough to it, but it's just a very unfortunate spin for Dylan McClements. Any one of the 25 here this evening could do that. It just unfortunately has to be him. And it really just goes to show how the conditions in this race are catching out the best of the best.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's always said that rain is the great equaliser. Ronan Doherty, though, considers equal was 12 seconds ahead of Rory O'Shea. He started the final lap of the race. Wow, what about a wet weather warrior? How about adding Ronan Doherty to that mix?
Yeah, Ronan just seems to capitalise whenever Jordan Kelly has a howler. He just seems to take it in his stride and dominate. But this is 12.3 seconds ahead of Rory O'Shea. I tell you what, it is a performance of the ages from Ronan Doherty. Here's Alexander Milchin and Peter McCann battling. The VRA Racing red and white car of Peter McCann is able to get ahead of Milchin here, and McCann has had a very strong race. He was on the wrong side of a coin toss for the second time in his RTA career last week in the Driver of the Day vote, so he's certainly looking to try and change myself and Kieran and the 20-cent coin I had in my hands opinion this week, and a good job there by him. Another McClements brother having a problem, it seems, is that Sean McClements down to 12.
It is indeed. So, as you say, it's catching out some good quality drivers this rain, as we see Kamto Chukra having to hold back on Jordan Kelly. Then as we make our way in towards Piratella for the final time, that's Jordan Kelly up the inside, getting his move now up into 6th place. So he's back where he started before that spin a couple of laps ago as he headed his way in towards Tosa. But I'm sure very shortly we are going to see Ronan Doherty round off heat number 1.
Yes, 13.3 seconds, ever increasing for Ronan Doherty. The rest of the drivers have been slipping and sliding around the circuit, but this one never really looked in doubt for Ronan. Heading through the final corner then, it'll be the first man, not called Jordan Kelly, to win heat number 1 here in RTA Super Formula Lights. A great job by him. I think Brian McManus might just get ahead of Jordan Kelly. Rory O'Shea will come home in second. Then it's Sean McGoldrick behind in third. Then it's an almighty gap to the 4th place man of Brian McManus, who is fending off Jordan Kelly, both in very similar identical liveries, dare I say, heading towards the start-finish line. But it'll be Brian McManus ahead of the championship leader, Jordan Kelly. Brian will savour those words as they both come home ahead of 6th place man, Kamto Chukwa.
Yeah, Peter McCann across the line in 7th place, and Alexander Milchin in 8th, with David Prunty in 9th place, and Philip Upson should be rounding off the top 10 shortly, or will he? Because Sean McClements is closing, and look at that, Sean McClements trying to find his way through. Across the line they go by 1/1000th of a second. The 10th place goes to Philip Upson, with Sean McClements setting a 2:04 on that last lap, and Dylan McClements a 2:24 with no front wing, finishing outside of the top 10 in 12th place. Conor Melia is just about going to finish ahead of Colin O'Regan. No, he's not, by 3/100ths of a second. Some photo finishes. I think we need some more film to catch those photo finishes as they head their way across the line. Tony Stack then finishing in 18th, deciding not to pit in for a new front wing. Interesting strategy, but it's got him 18th place then, and then it's going to be Wing Fei Chan across the line in 19th, Andrew Murphy in 20th, and Lawrence de Solsver going to finish on the lead lap here, the last on the lead lap, in 21st place.
I heard Ronan Hederman still has some leftover stuff from his dabble in photography if we need anything for photo finishes. But that is an excellent race. That was 10 minutes. I'm so glad we have a little bit more because I feel like there's more to come from these ones. Maybe not more spins and crashes. We've had a lot of them in the opening race, but some good overtakes now mixed in, and we have a fabulous couple of heats heading around. Gary Corcoran in 22nd, just bringing us home. Kevin Joyce in the stream chat, I should say, saying great job, Ronan and Brian, and he rathers them than me tonight. Yeah, look, it's probably the 1 week I'm glad I'm in the commentary box, to be honest.
Oh, absolutely. It is absolutely pouring down with rain here in Imola, but that's just the way we like it up in the box, and that's just the way Ronan Doherty likes it too.
Yes, it is a win by 13.9 seconds is what the official tell it. At the end, Rory O'Shea in second ahead of Sean McGoldrick in third. Brian McManus then comes home fourth ahead of Jordan Kelly in fifth. And it is Kamto Chukwuka in sixth position with Peter McCann in seventh. Alexander Milchan comes home in eighth ahead of David Prunty in ninth. Philip Upson then in 10th ahead of both the McClements brothers in 11th and 12th.
Yeah, Jamal Gandor in 13th place with John McDonald in 14th. Colin O'Regan rounding off the top 15. Conor Melia in 16th place with Simran Takar in 17th. Tony Stack across the line, front wingless in 18th. Wingfei Chan with a wing finished in 19th. Andrew Murphy rounding off the top 20. Lawrence de Sosfer in 21st. Race 2 is just around the corner.
Yes, it is. Here we have Gary Corcoran in 22nd and Finley Melvin in 23rd. And it's Brereton and Schloten on the final row as Ronan Doherty will get to lead us away from the pole as we go racing for the second time this evening here in Imola. That's a great start from Rory O'Shea. That's airborne in the background. A super formula takes flight here in Imola. Once again, Doherty, just like his cousin Dylan McClements in the last race, has had a terrible start off the front row, and he's fighting all elbows out to keep Sean McGoldrick behind. Rory O'Shea takes the race lead in the High Prix. Jordan Kelly not out of this one though, getting a good start in fourth. Some problems maybe for Kamto Chukwuka. No, he settled there in sixth.
Yeah, high flying at the start then. Jordan Kelly trying to find his way past Sean McGoldrick. Ronan Doherty getting a big mountain of oversteer out of Villeneuve and in towards Tozer we go. Jordan Kelly up the inside now of Sean McGoldrick as he'll try and put the power down. Sean McGoldrick gets the better run out of Tozer and can try and fend off Jordan Kelly on this occasion as we've got positions swapping and changing all the time. Dylan McClements is losing positions once again on the opening lap. He's now down to 11th place and behind Conor Melia, who has a bit of a moment himself then as he heads his way in through Piratella, able to recover though and hold on to his top 10 position at least for now.
Yes, you can see him just stuck behind Conor Melia, wasn't able to get the job done. The Wexford man at the front of this race, however, Rory O'Shea, is under big pressure from the high-flying Ronan Doherty from heat number 1. Ronan has finally got into his groove from the opening race, and it seems like he is stuck right behind Rory O'Shea. That's Jordan Kelly, who's gone slipping down the order again, Kieran.
Yeah, he was going side by side there, and I did wonder, side by side, going in towards the Variante Alta is not a good idea at the best of times in dry, let alone in the wet weather conditions. Let's get a better look at what happened to our championship leader. It's certainly raining on his parade, and there you see there's contact going in towards that chicane. And not great at all to see for our championship leader. This is a huge invitation to the likes of Rory O'Shea and Ronan Doherty as Sean McGoldrick and Jordan Kelly collide in the Variante Alta.
Yes, and Ronan Doherty has taken the race lead. While we were looking at that replay, Rory O'Shea has fallen behind Doherty. So the man who won heat number 1 and the man who was second in heat number 1 are in the same spots here in heat number 2. However, Brian McManus is up to P3 here in heat number 2. Brian is having a fantastic evening. The last time we saw him before heat 1, he was having an incident in qualifying, but he's having a great drive here in the second heat so far. Your running order as it stands is Doherty, O'Shea, McManus, then it's Kamto Chukwuka ahead of Sean McClements, Conor Melia, Dylan McClements, Peter McCann, and Simran Takar and Wingfei Chan. How they have resurged here in heat number 2, 9th and 10th for them.
Yeah, great stuff as well. It just shows you if you keep your head down, stay out of trouble. It's easier than it sounds, of course, though. It's not easier than it sounds. It's a lot more difficult than it sounds. I got my words wrong. No, it's all right. It happens. But anyway, it's a lot more difficult than it sounds on paper, keeping out of trouble as Tony Stack here trying to find a way back past Lawrence de Sosva for 11th place as we head our way through in towards Piratella, as we then descend our way down towards Aqua Minerale, keeping our eye as well on the timing screens in a battle for 5th place, a three-way battle between Sean McClements, Sean McClements, Conor Melia and Dylan McClements all battling away for 5th place as it stands. Tony Stack, though, getting a better run coming out of Aqua Minerale as he'll look to try and go down the inside here. Lawrence de Sosva says you can have that position, Tony. Up to 11th place goes the Buzzing Hornet.
Yep, Limerick and Clare didn't come close to that monster battle in towards the Variante Alta. Tony Stack versus Lawrence de Sosva. De Sosva had a bit of a moment, so did Peter McCann. That's McCann now down to 14th. He's being clawed in at a rate of knots by Philip Upson. May drop to 15th here down towards the Ravatsas, which is more like the River Atza here, considering it's absolutely soaked. But McCann and Upson at a snail's pace getting through that one. This is the battle for 5th, or for 6th, I should say. Dylan McClements trying to get past Conor Melia.
As Dylan McClements tries to hold the inside line as we head away in towards the first chicane at Tamburello, and Conor Melia runs a little bit too deep. There's no grip there, and Dylan McClements moves himself now up into 6th place. And Dylan McClements has struggled on these opening laps here in the rain. So if it comes to sort of reverse grid racing, watch out for him. If he does find himself in sort of that middle pack of the top 8, he'll be one to watch out for in the opening stages, because 2 out of 3 times it's not worked for him right now. Jordan Kelly has pitted, new front wing for him, and now this really will be a charge if he can find his way back up the order. He's 5 seconds away from Jamal Gandor, but then after that it's 13 seconds to Gary Corcoran, as there's a battle between Stuart Brereton and David Prunty right behind him for 19th place as they make their way in towards Tamburello. But that looked like Prunty just about held the position of P19 ahead of Stuart Brereton. Well, this is a huge uphill battle for our championship leader. Meanwhile then, Lawrence de Sosva and Alexander Milchin do battle out of Piratella.
Yeah, it was probably Sean McClements, I think, actually, in 7th spot. He's just fallen behind Dylan and Connor. He's now fallen behind Simran Thacker. Yep, that is a problem for Sean McClements. Or certainly he has made an error of some sort. This is a horrible position to find yourself in. There's no break in the traffic to try get out. It's like trying to get onto the M50 slip road at 3 o'clock on a Friday. No go. And Sean McClements, unfortunately, has lost a lot of time and a lot of positions in that one. Let's have a look on the Gantry TV replay, Kieran.
Yeah, let's see what happens then. And going in towards Aqua Minerale, at the very least, yeah, just drops the back end then. And I'm guessing he tries to spin it round now when there is no traffic, gets into the gravel, and then, as you say, he finds himself stuck, waiting, hoping there's a gap in the traffic. Even the old peep and creep to try and get back out onto the track, but no way through. He has to wait a painfully long time to be able to rejoin onto the circuit. He's all the way now down into P15.
Yeah, that's a horrible moment for Sean McClements. It is identical to what his brother did earlier on in the evening in heat number 1, spun it out of Aqua Minerale, and he unfortunately has dropped way down the order, just like Jordan Kelly in this race. They'll both be fighting up through. Finlay Melvin was one of the high qualifiers here in this race, as he has got ahead of Philip Upson.
Yeah, Finlay Melvin, meanwhile, is running without a front wing again. I wonder if that's 2 races in a row now. Meanwhile, Dylan McClements trying to recharge his way through the field then, as he looks to go down the inside of Piratella. No way through right now, as this battle for 4th place rages on. Tricora having to defend from Dylan McClements as we descend our way in towards Aqua Minerale with a face full of spray. Dylan McClements will try and find a way through. Not this time, though, and trying to get the power down. 2 different lines being taken. Which one's the better line? It's the Dylan McClements line that's the better one, as he now powers his way through and sails his way into 4th place.
Yes, it is the battle of the Gamerfest successees. Success is a word, but certainly they're both winners of it. 2024 Dylan McClements, 2023 Camto Chukwa, 2 of Ireland's young hotshot sim racers, battling it out here on what's a not hot Italian Tuesday evening. Remember, you can find RTA on all Tuesday evenings from now until pretty much the rest of time, because we've now got the endurance races filling in the weeks. So if you want to join, if you want to, well, as I say, if you want to join, we see 2 drivers looking to rejoin the circuit, because something has happened to Peter McCann here, Kieran. There goes my league plug.
Well, there we go. It's a rear wing, so I assume he's might have just lost the back end here in towards the Variante Alta, and unfortunately met the wall. And there's not a lot of runoff there. He spun up
Oh,
the rear then, and he's not held the brake. Peter not held the brake there, and then almost collected by two other cars there. Oh, Finley Melvin just about squeezed through that gap then that Peter McCann actually left behind. But yeah, Peter McCann just not getting onto the brakes, or either way, if he was holding the brakes, the car was just not stopping whatsoever. And unfortunately, that's cost him a rear wing.
yeah, Peter loves having a go at people for not holding the brakes either. So whatever young person or ends up in the steward's room with Peter having a go at them, there you go. There's some evidence live from Gantry
But
TV.
the only thing that gave it away was the wheels didn't lock. So that's how I
Yeah, he also
that's
kept
how I
moving.
assume.
That's
Yeah,
usually what tells me. Yeah,
he also kept moving backwards. Yes, you're
yeah,
right.
he did. And then he hit the wall and then broke his rear wing. I know we love you, Peter, secretly.
Couple of
Um,
clues.
Speaking of Peter McCann, oh, he's still going round as well. This won't be a difficult one for Jordan Kelly to get the job done, as Peter McCann is making Jordan's walking wounded car look very easy to drive all of a sudden. Peter may as well be in a Red Bull soapbox as of right now, heading round the circuit, because that car is not really a car. There's some IndyCar teams and there's some American teams, such as Peter Dempsey's team, who are very jealous of Peter McCann's rear wing spec right now. That would be amazing on ovals.
Yeah, I was going to say it's the sort of Sergio Perez looking rear wing spec from Canada right
Oh,
now. So Peter McCann's running that one. We'll see how that gets on with him
gonna kill
as we
you.
have a car going a little bit off there. I think that was Philip Upson having a bit of a moment there coming out of Aqua Minerale as he tries to now rejoin onto the circuit. Fair play to Peter McCann, because in these wet, treacherous conditions, you need the downforce. And of course, you're going slower, so you don't have much more downforce. You have less of it. So you crank up the wings to give you more downforce, which makes you slower. And that vicious cycle continues. But the fact that he's keeping it planted on the circuit through some of these high-speed corners, fair enough, Peter.
Sorry, I was just waiting in case he spun it through a Vatsa, because that would have been our clip of the week. But
That would have been.
no, you think Peter McCann was the Formula Ford champion, the 2023 Formula Ford British Formula Ford champion? But it is Jordan Kelly. But Peter's car looks probably reminiscent of some form of a Formula Ford. Alexander Milchan running into a bit of trouble. He's dropped 2 spots here, and you can see him slowly pulling off. Is that the Variante Tamburello? I believe it is this time. Yep, that's the Variante Villeneuve he's coming up to. So a bit of an issue there for Milchan. Probably just a spin under his own accord. It's certainly something that's not new to us here on the broadcast tonight, because these conditions are not getting easier. As the fatigue starts to set in as well, we will slowly see more mistakes, and you can see Simran Thakur having a massive wobble out of Piratella, but he won't care how many wobbles he has tonight if he finishes in 6th place, Kieran. Incredible result for him.
Yeah, up 11 places from when we started. Wing Fei Chan up 12. Lawrence de Sosfa up 13. It is just a case of if you can keep the car on this, well, I was going to say track, but it's more like a river. If you can keep it on the river, keep it on the water, you've got a good chance of getting a really good result. As Conor Melia gets away past Lawrence de Sosa then before the braking zone of the Variante Alta. So Conor Melia moves up to 8th place. That's him now up 8 places as Lawrence has a little bit of tail happiness coming out of the Variante Alta. I don't think it cost him too much time. Tony Stack now right behind him. Sean McClements will be trying to battle his way through the field. But look at some of the heavy hitters here, Evan. Jordan Kelly down in P13. You've got the likes of Roy O'Shea and Ronan Doherty still up there, but Sean McGoldrick obviously involved in that incident. He's down in 22nd place. Sean McClements, 11th place. Dylan McClements, who's currently running in 4th place right now. If you're some of those championship battling protagonists, this is a great chance to score some serious points as Sean McClements closes and closes on Tony Stack, pulls out of the slipstream, pulls out of the spray, will look to go up the inside of the Jordan-inspired machine there. Sean McClements up into P10.
Yeah, good move there by Sean, getting past Tony Stack. Yeah, this championship could become really interesting, because Ronan Doherty and Rory O'Shea are both scoring a lot of points over Jordan Kelly. O'Shea second in the championship, Doherty third. It was a big enough gap coming into this evening, but we still have a lot of races to run here in the Super Formula Lights Championship. Brian McManus will be hoping to keep onto the podium ahead of young Dylan McClements, who is just parked up right behind his rear wing now, looking to sneak an opportunity to get past McManus. But with only 2 minutes to go, Brian will fancy himself for holding on here in towards the Varante Alda. Slightly different lines from the two. That might be a spray avoidance by Dylan McClements, or it might just be what he feels is the better line at this point in the race. Down towards the Ravazzas, though. I wouldn't be surprised if Dylan has a go down the inside at some point soon.
Yeah, he's certainly sizing it up, isn't he? And he hasn't got long left. In fact, we haven't got long left in this race at all, as we have about 90 seconds to go. So I think Ronan Doherty has started our final lap of this race as the battle for the podium rages on here. Brian McManus versus Dylan McClements as they make their way across the line with the white flag waving. It's their final lap here, their final tour here of Imola in the second race of the evening. One more to come. Dylan McClements has the inside line then heading away towards Tamburello. Brian McManus has to back out of that one for now, and Dylan McClements does move himself back up into those podium positions. Brian McManus, though, right now holding the position he started in, and that's Peter McCann going off the course, of course, with no rear wing. The fact that he manages to keep it on the track as long as he did was a great show in itself. Currently running in 19th place, just looking to finish this race now.
Yes, he is, and Jordan Kelly is looking to maybe get closer towards that top 8 reverse grid. He'll need a couple of crashes on this lap to do so, but if he could get past Tony Stack, that would put him in a better position. The fastest lap of the race for Jordan Kelly. He's certainly got the pace, but not necessarily the look. Is that a problem for Simran Thakur? It might be. No, he's back on the track now. Well, he's not on the track, but he is in the vicinity. That's the gravel trap for Simran Thakur. Very disappointing for him. He was looking for a good result here in Imola. Unfortunately, it will only be 9th. Although, admittedly, 9th is still a good result for him, but it could have been oh so much more. Wingfei, though, big performer so far. We saw the Stewart Grand Prix car facing backwards in heat number 1. He's facing the right way. He's picking up big points for doing so here in heat 2.
Isn't he just in 6th place right now? But here comes Ronan Doherty to cap off what's been a really good day so far.
Here is Ronan Doherty. It's going to be 2 from 2 for Doherty. He weaves his way home. We thought 13.9 second win was impressive. Here's 15.4 to take our fancy. Rory O'Shea will come home in second. Although he's been, as some would say, beaten out of the park by Ronan Doherty, this is not a negative result in the slightest for Rory. Huge points in the championship. Dylan McClements, thunderous last lap. 2 seconds pulled on Brian McManus. He will take his first podium of the evening. McManus 0-4th, a depressive drive nonetheless. Kamto Chukua then coming home in 5th position ahead of Wingfei Chan in 6th. I tell you what, folks, there's a lot of good performances here this evening. Driver of the day is going to be a difficult one, but Wingfei will come home in 6th place ahead of Conor Melia in 7th. That gives them all a great starting spot for the reverse grid race. Lawrence de Soswa looking to just hold off Jordan Kelly here coming out of the final corner. Who's got the traction? Is it de Soswa? Is it Kelly? Kelly going for the longer way around the outside.
Oh no, they come together!
Incident. That is a huge incident for Lawrence de Soswa and Jordan Kelly. And crucially, it happened before the start-finish line. Jordan Kelly is going to try reverse his way home ahead of Finlay Melvin. That gap is closing, and it's closing. Melvin will come home ahead. I think he might just get it home ahead of Gary Cochran. No, he's actually beaten Finlay Melvin to the line. So even when he spins out before the line, Jordan can still pull it off.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow. Wow, the two, Lawrence de Sosva and Jordan Kelly, colliding on the run to the line. Absolutely incredible. And then Jordan Kelly just sticks it into reverse because he thinks, I've got to at least get P13 here, and beating out Finlay Melvin by less than 0.2 of a second. I think that's worth. If you had any film in that camera, Ronan, I want to see how close this really was.
I'm going to have to ask Jordan, can I upload that clip with a bit of Smooth Criminal over? That was a bit of moonwalking from Jordan Kelly. Let's have a look then, in towards the Ravazzas, out of the final corner. To be fair, Kieran and Ronan scouted before I even sort of noticed what was happening here. Jordan goes for the outside. Lawrence on the inside. Lawrence, oh, he has a bit of a twitch, and it sends them both off the circuit. I tell you what, I'm glad this is a simulator. That's a high-speed incident for Jordan Kelly just off of the moto chicane. That is a weird one that we don't see often. But here's your full race results then. It is Ronan Doherty who takes the win. Rory O'Shea in second, Dylan McClements in third, Brian McManus 4th, Camto Chukwa 5th, Wingfei Chan 6th, Conor Melia 7th, Sean McClemens 8th, and it's Simran Tacker 9th, Tony Stack in 10th.
And Alexander Milchin in 11th place with Lawrence Sosa in 12th. Jordan Kelly in 13th place, just ahead of Finley Melvin in 14th, with Gary Corcoran in 15th place. David Prunty in 16th place, with Stuart Brereton in 17th. Jamal Gandor in 18th place. Sean McGoldrick in 19th. And Peter McCann, with no rear wing, manages to finish P20.
Philip Upson and Sebastian Schloten, who round out the order. Bit of interviews now, I think, folks, as we'd like to do after heat number 2. Let's have a chat with your race winner then, Ronan Doherty, who's waiting for us in the interview room. Ronan, can you hear us?
Nope, can't hear you.
Okay, thanks very much, Ronan. Appreciate that. We'll move. No, I'm messing. Ronan, I know you like to claim you work for Red Bull sometimes, but I think even Max Verstappen would be proud with those first 2 races.
Well, Max would have preferred pole now, but yeah. Oh no, the races went all right. Like, just kept it clean.
Equally shocking starts off the grid, to be fair.
Yeah, I don't know what Rory's doing off the line, but it's absolutely crazy.
Then in terms of that one, then there's not really much we can ask you other than how do you survive those weather conditions? We're seeing cars going off left, right, and centre. Jordan, Dylan, Sean. How have you managed to keep it on track so flawlessly?
Yeah, it's definitely difficult. Like, I'm just not driving at 100%. I think my strength is really the first couple of laps, feeling the conditions underneath me, and like the last race, once I got that 3-4 seconds to Rory, I knew I could just drive at 80% for the rest of the race, and just I still had a few close calls, a few little moments, but it's all about consistency and almost under driving in your own mind.
Right then, heat 3. No one other than Jordan Kelly's taken a hat-trick in the last 3 seasons. Can you do it?
I'll give it a crack. See, I begged myself up for race 3 the last 2 weeks, so I'm not saying anything.
Yeah, you did. Ronan, thank you very much. Do you want to just get the phrase out of the way you say after you leave the interview each week?
Keep her country, boys.
Thank you very much, Ronan Doherty. Once again for chatting to us. We hope we get to talk to Ronan after. Let's hand it over to Kieran and the second place man, Rory O'Shea.
Yeah, thank you very much. And if that's Ronan Doherty at 80%, Rory O'Shea is joining me here. Rory, what's the difference then? Because it's 13 and 15 seconds in these treacherous conditions. What's the tip you've got to have to beat Ronan Doherty and when he's in this kind of form?
When he's in this kind of form, he's fairly unbeatable. Like, I can't push any more than I'm doing. Like, I've already spun like twice. So I'm just tiptoeing around, going as quick as I can while keeping it on the road.
Well, you're tiptoeing it around, and it's 2 second places for you so far tonight. That means you're starting from P7 in our reverse grid race. Obviously, we've had a lot of spinners here. There's a lot on the line in terms of points being gained, especially against Jordan Kelly. What's the main focus going into tonight's final race?
I think to try and get off the line as well as I've been doing in the first 2 races, and then capitalise off those other incidents. And if I can get out of the spray of other cars as soon as possible, I think I have a good shot to win.
Yeah, Ronan is absolutely flabbergasted how you're able to get such good launches. I know you won't share that secret here, but is a win on the cards for you tonight, Rory? Can you keep Ronan Doherty behind?
I think anything's possible in these conditions. It's impossible to say.
Anything's possible. It's impossible to say. That's a good way to leave it, Rory. Good luck in the final race, and hopefully we'll see you back for a top 3 interview.
Cheers.
That's Rory O'Shea. Then I'll hand it over. I think we have a quick moment here to chat to Dylan McClement, so I'll hand it back to you, Evan.
Dylan, Heat 1, Heat 2, mixed bag. How are you finding the conditions?
It's tricky, I made a couple of mistakes in those races, but looking towards the last race, I'm gonna try to take it a bit easier and maybe get another podium place.
We saw you make a great move on Brian McManus in that one. Where do you think you can pull off most of the overtakes heading into the reverse grid race?
I'm not sure, but I'll try my best at the start, but also try to keep clean because with rain it's unpredictable and you never know what's going to happen. But I'll try to do my best to try and make overtakes anywhere I can.
Is a podium the goal then for the final heat, or will you just be happy with a strong points haul?
I'll be going for a podium. Even a win would be, I don't know, but I'll see. But I'm looking towards a podium and getting another one on the board.
Well, Dylan, we're going to let you go prepare for the final heat. Thank you very much to talk to us, and all going well. We'll chat to you again later.
Right, see you later.
Bit of a fast-paced interview there. Apologies to him, but that is Dylan McClements, who we heard from in third. The grid's getting ready here, Kieran. It's Dylan's brother, Sean, who starts on pole position. I'm thoroughly looking forward to this one.
Me too. Conor Melia lining up alongside. Wingfei Chan, who's been absolutely flying in these latter stages here, starts from third place. Kanto Chukra in fourth. Brian McManus in fifth. Dylan McClements in sixth. Rory O'Shea in seventh. High-flying Ronan Doherty is rounding off the top 8. That's a really, really good view there. And here we go racing.
Yes, here we go then. We're on the grid for the final time here in Imola as we go racing in Italy. It's a horrible start for Wingfei Chan, who's already dropping positions. It's a great start for Conor Melia, who gets past pole to the Sean McClements. Oh, that's a monster incident. And I believe that's the champion. Is it Jordan Kelly involved? No, it's Rory O'Shea, actually. It is Kelly. It is Jordan Kelly who's going slowly. It is a horror start for a lot, Kieran. And it was before we even reached the first corner.
Yeah, Rory O'Shea, Alexander Milchin looked like the two that were mainly involved in that one. But yeah, big incident there for Rory O'Shea. And I can't feel help that I slightly commentator cursed that one. And I have to put my apologies out there. But we'll have to see what happened there. Jordan Kelly, though, up into 6th place. He's clearly had to do some ducking and weaving in these treacherous conditions because he's now 3.9 seconds away from anybody else. Let's have a look again, Evan, at that hectic start.
And let's actually find out who it was, because that'll happen so fast into the first corner. Whoa! Oh my goodness me, that's a major incident. Is this multiple cars? Whoa!
Alexander Milchin,
Melvin, McManus, O'Shea. There is McCann gone as well. There is Upson, McDonald. There's a car missing the front wing. That's Ronan Doherty's car, who's absolutely destroyed. No, sorry, not Doherty, someone else. But yeah, I think you can get the gist of it, folks. That was a big one.
I don't use the word pandemonium very often, and I feel like this is a true chance to use that phrase. But that was pandemonium at the start there. Absolutely hectic. Conor Melia, though, leading the way ahead of Dylan McClements here, who almost runs into the back of Melia going in towards the first part of Ravazza. It's Ronan Doherty in 3rd place, then it's Kanto Chukra in 4th place, Jordan Kelly in 5th, and he's starting to reel in that position once again. He's starting to reel in the time. Dylan McClements, meanwhile, powering through, and he takes over the lead of the race in an incident-filled first lap. A 2-minute 2 on board. Conor Melia is fighting back here. He'll have to go the long way round then as we head our way towards Tamburello. Dylan McClements has the inside line. He might be able to snatch away the apex from Conor Melia, which he does, but has a big mountain of oversteer to pay for it here. So Conor Melia is still right on his tail then as we head towards the Villeneuve chicane.
This is the latest edition of Dancing on Ice, because my, oh my, is it slippy out there. You can just see how these guys are battling the car. Ronan Doherty is steering left for a right-hander, right for a left-hander. He's going to try lunge it down the inside. You can see Melia sliding under the brakes. Dylan McClements running wide. No one knows the ideal line here. It is just guess and send it here around the Autodromo Internazionale. This is an incredible start to a controversial heat-free. Kelly in 5th. O'Shea 19th. This could be a big point haul for Ronan Doherty over the 2 as well. The championship, we don't really know the state of play heading in towards next week, but that's not the matter now. There is an issue in towards Toza for Tony Stack and Lawrence de Soswa, however. But it goes, oh, there's a problem. Dylan McClements from the race lead spins it through Aqua Minerale. That is not a corner to remember for the McClements brothers. Dylan spun in Heat 1, Sean Heat 2, Dylan in Heat 3. Let's take a look at the replay.
Yeah, is this a case of just putting the power down a little too early here for our race leader, Dylan McClements, as we make our way now through in towards Aqua Minerale? It's caught him out once before. That's twice now. Only this time it was a little bit of a half spin, and thank goodness he held the brakes there, because Ronan Doherty just about found that gap to the left-hand side to power his way through and take over the lead of this race. But meanwhile, that was someone who was facing the wrong way there. Ronan Doherty's lost time. He has lost time because there's Sean McGoldrick trying to fly his way past. So no one wants to be in the lead this race apart from Conor Melia right now. He seems to be loving it right now.
Kanto Chukwu 1.3 seconds quicker than Conor Melia. Sean McGoldrick 3 seconds quicker than Conor Melia on the last lap. We've got a couple of high flyers here. Doherty hangs it around the outside of Sean McGoldrick, who very slow out of the corner there for Sean. I'm not too sure what happened to him, but Doherty is ahead nonetheless.
Did he lose the back end there, I wonder, going in towards the very first chicane, perhaps? He had to recover that one because he's lost 3.7 seconds.
Tacker, I believe. Sean McClements has just gone round there. Yes, it is Sean McClements. I thought it was Tacker, but it was the car ahead of Simran. So Simran is up to 6th place. You can see Kelly now up to 7th, and there is Kamto Chukwa. The man who he said just had such a positive fast lap has spun it round. In all honesty, we don't really know where to look because this is incredible.
It is. And Jordan Kelly's not got a front wing either. He's running front wingless. Once again, Jordan Kelly has been involved in the wars. Now, that wasn't from the very start because we saw him on the first lap. He did have a front wing. Somewhere between lap 1 and halfway through lap 3, he's lost a front wing. And Jordan Kelly will be falling down the order. Simran Tacker is now falling down the order as well, further behind. This is absolutely crazy. I mean, it's almost like there haven't been 2 races before the amount of spins and incidents we're having. Let's have a look here. Is this possibly how Jordan Kelly may have lost his front wing then? This is coming in towards Ravazza, and he tries to go down the inside, spins it, and then the front wing just unceremoniously flops off the car. But either way, Jordan Kelly, that's how he lost his front wing, with a little bit of contact going in towards Ravazza.
That's another big moment in this championship for Jordan Kelly. We have seen him nurse a car home. He nursed a podium in Virginia International Raceway. But when you've not had a good week, like, he's really, really suffering. He has just overtaken Colin O'Regan, so admittedly it doesn't look like it, but he is suffering here. And Ronan Doherty, what an opportunity this is to get him back into the championship. He could go free from free. Jordan Kelly is into the pit lane here, Kieran, presumably for a wing change.
Yeah, presumably so. He did this in race 2 and managed to fight his way back up the order to at least try and finish in the top 10. He has more time to do that this time around, and fewer cars in theory, but he uses his quick repair to put on a front wing and get himself back out onto track. So he should possibly rejoin at about P15. He should easily rejoin clear of Tony Stack. It's just whether he can get ahead of David Prunty and Peter McCann. He'll rejoin onto the track. I think that's David Prunty closing and closing. I think David Prunty, he'll certainly want to go for that position. I think he backed out in the end. He didn't want to have a battle going in towards Tamburello. Lawrence de Sosva running through. That's Colin O'Regan, who's found the gravel there on the exit there, I think that is, of the Tamburello chicane, as then we head away towards Villeneuve. So it's very tricky to keep these cars on track, more so it seems than in the first 2 races combined.
Yeah, I didn't know Team Dolan hired Guido. That was an incredibly quick pit stop from Jordan Kelly, because he's come out in 12th ahead of David Prunty. Rory O'Shea's down in 19th. He probably would have thought that Jordan will end up with him and they can duke it out for the lower points. But here is Ronan Doherty going for it down towards Ravazza. I tell you what, you've got to be brave to do it in these conditions around the outside. Ronan Doherty is the epitome of it, because the man who's won Heat 1 and Heat 2 is oozing with confidence. And Ronan Doherty leads after 7 minutes and 45 seconds. He is looking to become the 2nd driver to complete a hat-trick in the last 3 seasons of RTA Virtual Motorsport.
And he's only going at 80% pace as well. This is quite incredible for Ronan Doherty. He's absolutely relishing these conditions. Jordan Kelly, meanwhile, trying to now find a way past Colin O'Regan. He's really sized up that move to try and get it done on the exit of the Variante Alta with the perfect way to do it. Just get backing on the power, and he's now up into 11th place. Next target for Jordan Kelly is Stuart Brereton as he makes his way through in towards Ravazza. There is your race leader, though, Ronan Doherty. As Evan said, he's looking for a hat-trick, but he's not going to do it if he runs a little bit haywire like that over the curbs and loses the back end. Stuart Brereton then looks a little bit powerless to defend against Jordan Kelly. One feels maybe it was a half-hearted effort to try and put up a defence. I think Stuart Brereton knows that his race is not perhaps with Jordan Kelly. It's the fact that it's going to be trying to get up into the top 10 by keeping that car on the track and wondering if others might befall these conditions.
Stuart Brereton having a bit of an issue there. We were just having a look at those cars going around through the corner. Me and Kieran in disbelief of what we're seeing almost. Stuart Burton having a bit of a problem there. Andrew Murphy, you can see in a battle here with David Prunty. I feel like I have not said the name Andrew Murphy all evening. Probably
No.
haven't, but
No, Andrew Murphy was racing. That's
there's
quite incredible.
That's Colin O'Regan who has gone round in front as well, suffering out of Tosa. You can see him having a problem there. Look at this, Prunty back down the inside of the mysterious racing driver. It's been a good week for Papaya coloured cars. Certainly in Formula One, Andrew Murphy looking to continue that trend going, I should say.
Ooh, David Prunty running a little bit deep in towards Aqua Minerale then. The fact that Andrew Murphy, we haven't seen a lot of him, but he's getting his airtime now as unfortunately he's just been passed by Peter McCann. But there's that mystery driver. It kind of reminds me, if you ever played, I think it was F1 98, you had Williams driver number 1. This reminds me of Andrew Murphy. He's been under the radar, but he's currently running in 12th place, and he's gained 11 places from where he started this race. So it just shows you keeping your wits about you, making sure you keep the car on the track, or the river in this case, does pay dividends.
Have you ever played F1 98? I was -7. No, I haven't.
I actually hate you now. That's concerning.
That's
there
harsh.
We go.
That's very harsh.
It was harsh, but you know what? Deserved.
Oh,
okay. Anyway, Jordan Kelly's just set the fastest lap of the race, 53 flat from Jordan Kelly. 10 seconds now behind Simran Takar for a place. This is possible here for Jordan Kelly to get himself potentially, top 7's on the cards for sure. It's whether he can close 13 seconds after that in, let's say a third of a race, which is a tall order even for Jordan Kelly.
It is a tall order for Jordan Kelly, but if anyone can do it, I would trust Jordan Kelly to do so. It's been up and down all evening, but he's still had good pace, so we will have to wait and see. This is the battle between Philip Upson and Andrew Murphy once again, and Upson has been up and down this evening. There is no pun intended this time, because that's genuinely the evening he's had. He is up to 12th, however, here in heat number 3, and he's looking to get a good result from it.
Yes, he is indeed. And I was just having a look back and maybe seeing why we haven't seen Andrew Murphy out on track. It's because I believe he's had 2 DNFs so far tonight. So if you can get some points on the board here just by making it to the checkered flag, I think that'll be the sort of the cherry on what has been a bit of a weak evening, unfortunately, for Andrew. He's clearly struggled in these conditions, but if he can get onto the at least if he can get some points here, that'll be absolutely fantastic for him and a good way to end what's been a bit of a torrid evening.
Yes, it has been a bit unfortunate for him. Another man who's out of this one is Sebastian Schloten, so I'm not too sure what his issues are, but I don't even think he's started any of the races, let alone finished them. So unfortunate there for Sebastian. Finley, Melvin and Gary Corcoran have also had poor evenings as well. Not necessarily due to themselves, they just unfortunately haven't picked up the prizes for their efforts. Here's Peter McCann, a rear wing and a dream on that car. He's looking to try and get past Philip Upson now for 11th place. And for a man who sauntered around for the best part of 5 minutes at the back with no rear wing in heat number 2, he's recovered very well to 12th.
He has, and he's now got a chance to try and find a way past Philip Upson here for what will be 11th place. And if you can just about see that lime green car, it's not quite lime, it's more fluorescent, but there we go. Peter McCann pulls to the right-hand side of the track, then moves himself ahead of Philip Upson, and there you can see that maybe wanted to try and move down the inside, no way through. Peter McCann moves himself now up into 11th place, and these treacherous conditions, and we'll try and start to build the gap, maybe sort of settle down now in 11th place. See if he can try and catch David Prunty before race end. Sean McGoldrick, meanwhile, up 16 places from where he started in what has been a bit of a disastrous evening, especially the second race for Sean McGoldrick. That Williams-inspired machine is now up into the top 3 and trying to chase down Conor Melia as they're now both looking to put a lap here on Wing Fei Chan.
Yeah, Wing Fei, another man who's had a roller coaster of an evening, just like Philip Upson. He was it 6th in heat number 1? He's now being lapped for 20th, unfortunately. That opening lap crash did take out a lot of drivers, though, so I suppose it's understandable for some to be running maybe down the back of the order. As you can see, Sean McGoldrick just getting past the wing by 7 drivers, I believe it was involving in the opening lap. Here is Camto Chukwa looking to defend from Sean McClements. McClements, a man also on a bit of a recovery from what's been a poor evening by his high standards. Sean McClements to the outside, down towards the Varante Tamburello, in towards turn number 2. McClements is going to have to try hook it round the outside. That was made look easy. Trust me, in these conditions, that is also impressive.
That's a really nice move there from Sean McClements. As you say, he made that look easy. It's nowhere near as easy as that look. Jordan Kelly setting the fastest lap of the race as Sean McClements undoes all the hard work. All that hard work for Sean McClements to seal the move around the outside, and he has a bit of a spin. Luckily for him, though, to spare his blushes, it's only the move that Camto Chukwa he managed to complete that goes up in smoke. That's drowned out in that one, but he manages to rejoin here with only that one position and a mountain of time lost. Riding aboard then with Sean McGoldrick in this battle for second place. Again, 12 seconds is the gap between Ronan Doherty and Conor Melia, and if Ronan Doherty is driving at 80%, as he told us after race 2, goodness knows what he's really truly capable of.
Sean McClements, as the Jamaican musician Shaggy once said, it wasn't me. That was a horrendous commentator's curse from you, Kieran. Unfortunately for poor Sean. Here, on more important matters, is the other Sean McGoldrick, looking to go for this move around the outside of Conor Melia in towards Ravazza. He has not just done that. He has not just done that. Sean McGoldrick take an absolute bow. That is impressive into one of the most difficult corners on the track this evening in terms of conditions. Wow, just wow. The man who is on a run of good form from his win in heat number 3 last week. The win seems a little bit far-fetched here, but he's pulled off one of the moves of the season in my book.
Yes, in these conditions, take a bow, take a stern, take a port, take a starboard, take whatever you like, Sean McGoldrick. That was a brilliant move in these wet weather conditions to take it round the outside. And it's that karting line, the karting line that Max Verstappen has re-put on the map, re-established on the map as the way to race and the way to make overtakes in these wet weather conditions. And Sean McGoldrick there did that to a T. That's up 17 from where he started in this race.
Yes, that's incredible. From Sean McGoldrick, this is one of the individual race drives of the season for sure, as well as one of the moves of the season. As I said, I tell you what, Sean McGoldrick is definitely a man reborn. He didn't take a win last season. He took one this season, and he's certainly taken some impressive results with that. Speaking of Sean's, unfortunately, Sean McClements will want to forget this evening because he is now under pressure from Jordan Kelly after a second mistake in the same amount of laps. It's not been the best of evenings for the McClements brothers. Statistically, Dylan was best last week. Did pick up 2 driver penalty points, but just going by results, he was the best last week. Unfortunately, it's not been the best evening for them, but they're still 4th and 6th, which goes to show. Here's Jordan Kelly, around the outside in towards Piratella. I think Sean has conceded that one.
Yeah, I think he's, you say, he might have just let Jordan Kelly have that one. Peter McCann then going around the outside of David Prunty, going outside line of Tosa, and picks up P10 for his troubles as well. Nice move from Peter McCann. Ronan Doherty has just set the fast lap of this race, 52.2. I think he saw that Jordan Kelly had the fastest lap and decided to use maybe 1% more of that 80% to get a new fastest lap on the board. 16.7 seconds ahead of Sean McGoldrick at this point in time for Ronan Doherty. I'm not going to say it, Evan, because the last time I praised someone for some good moves or some good racing, it all went horribly wrong for them. Sorry, Sean McClements.
Yeah, terrible job by you, Ronan. Awful. I'm not been involved in that. But it was 13.9 in heat 1, 15.5 in heat number 2. What will the gap be in heat number 3? Ronan Doherty has been impeccable here this evening. Dylan McClements is battling for a podium now. Oh, no, he's not. Oh, there we go. That's now both of the McClements who we have struck with commentators' curses. And we would like to severely apologise to the McClements family for our actions.
Yes, it's not been good enough from our side in the commentary box.
Really
we have to do better. But Dylan McClements, Dylan McClements though, managing to only lose time at that one. No positions lost there. So he's able to sort of recover from that one. And all in this space of 18 minutes and 40 seconds, we're nearing the end of this race. We'll just try and catch where Ronan Doherty is out on track and try and gauge how many laps we have left in this one. We're on the penultimate lap. I can tell you that right now, as Ronan Doherty makes his way towards Ravazza. He hasn't got long now, Evan, to do what no driver had before Jordan Kelly last season had done here at RTA.
Yes, he's got one more lap to keep everything under control. It's looked under control all evening, mind you. The white flag is raised, and Ronan Doherty is one lap away. He's not keeping it in control. He's pushing for the fastest lap. Was it Monaco where Sebastian Vettel's engineer Rocky told him that you don't get an extra point from that, bring it home? If someone could run into Ronan's room and tell him that as well, that would be terrific. But
if it could also be Rocky telling Ronan Doherty not to set the fastest lap, that'd be even better.
Yeah.
Peter McCann, though, running a little bit off track then, losing a couple of positions, and might lose out to Brian McManus here in these closing stages as they head their way in towards Acqua Minerale. Brian McManus looking to put the pressure on Peter McCann as they head over the crest and towards the Variante Alta. Ronan Doherty leading by nearly 20 seconds now. Brian McManus certainly sizing up this move against Peter McCann. But Ronan Doherty here making his way through in towards Piratella for the final time this evening, down towards Acqua Minerale. What a performance it has been for Ronan Doherty as he looks to just put some big points on the table.
Yes, Brian McManus and Peter McCann fighting there. We can see McCann just looking to get past McManus. These guys have another lap to achieve to sort out their battles. You can see that'll be an interesting run down towards the first corner as Ronan Doherty is just pulling the gap out even more. 21.4 down towards Ravazza's. It is going to be almost over 50 seconds that Ronan has beaten drivers here this evening. Well, it does take a champion performance to win by that margin once, let alone to do it 3 times in the one evening. He's never got a hat-trick in RTA. He said he'll have a crack at that. The only thing he's cracking open now is the finest bottle of Italian champagne, as Ronan Doherty has taken 3 of the best wins here in RTA, here in Super Formula Lights, and this will be an evening to remember forever for him. Sean McGoldrick will come home in second with an evening to remember for him, certainly. A fabulous overtake, a fabulous comeback drive, and some big points. Jordan Kelly has made another mistake, though, Kieran. Not an evening to remember for him, on the other hand.
No, not at all. As Conor Melia comes across the line in 3rd place, by the way. Great drive in this final race from Conor Melia to keep his wits about. And Dylan McClements in 4th place with Camto Tukura in 5th place. And then Jordan Kelly will be making his way towards the line very, very shortly. Here he goes then, and he actually dives into the pits.
Could that be a drive-through, maybe?
Yeah, so yes, incident limit, that's right. So yes, he'll come across the line then. Well, he will come across the line in the pit lane as Sean McClements. Well, he should classify ahead of him then if he gets the line beforehand. Nevertheless, Jordan Kelly's classified as 6th at this moment in time. Here comes Sean McClements across the line in 7th place. Lawrence Sosva in 8th. And then we'll have Simran Takar coming up to 9th place. But David Prunty and Philip Upson, that's a battle for the top 10.
Yes, and it's got to be Upson who's got the run out of the final corner, but I think David Prunty might be able to take it. Wow, you can't even see Prunty in the spray. That's mental. Ronan behind the scenes might be able to just confirm to us. Jordan's was just a drive-through and not a disqualification, wasn't it? Yeah, just a drive-through we're hearing. But of course the stewards will decide on that one, but it was Prunty who leads home. Upson ahead of McManus, McCann and O'Regan, who'll come home in 14th. Gandor, Milchin, O'Shea, Britton, Murphy, Stack and Chan all finishing a lap down. Really disheartening race for Rory O'Shea, Kieran, because he did everything right up until heat number 3, same as Virginia, and then just kind of had it all taken away from him.
Yeah, absolutely. But he's paid dividends today. Ronan Doherty with a great hat-trick, and only our 2nd hat-trick here at RTA history. What a performance. What a drive. What a hat-trick of drives for Ronan Doherty. Brilliant to watch, brilliant to see. And I'm wondering what percentage of power he used that time around.
Ronan Doherty, we will hear from him after, of course, but we'll run you through the results quickly. It is Doherty, McGoldrick, Melia, and McClements, Chukwa, McClements, De Soswa, Tacker, Prunty, Upson. Then it is Brian McManus, Peter McCann, ahead of Jordan Kelly, Colin O'Regan, and Jamal Gandor, your top 15.
Yes, Alexander Milchin in 16th place, Rory O'Shea in 17th, Stuart Brereton rounding off 18th place with Andrew Murphy at 19th, getting a finish here, and Tony Stack rounding off the top 20. Wing Fei Chan in 21st place with John McDonald, Finlay Melvin, Gary Corcoran, and Sebastian Scholten not seeing the checkered flag. In fact, for Sebastian Scholten, not once did he see the extinguishing of the red lights here tonight. What a hat-trick of victories for Ronan Doherty, Evan. I feel like we're going to say that all evening long, but it's just the truth. In these treacherous conditions, it was Ronan Doherty who came out on top, clear.
Yes, let's hear from him now then. We heard from him before heat number 3. We'll hear from him again. Ronan Doherty, it is a hat-trick of wins. You said you'd have a crack at it. You certainly did. Over 20 seconds. Is it a feeling of elation or just job done?
I just sort of job done. It was a good wee race. It was kind of hectic at the start. I got up into the lead fairly quickly, and then I went to cut the grass a bit, and just thought I'd do it again. So it was an eventful race, but happy enough it all came together in the end.
And I tell you what, you mightn't have thought of this already, but that puts you in with a great shout in a championship battle, because both Jordan and Rory had evenings from hell. You won 3 races. That's 90 points. Are you looking at the championship victory maybe coming into the last few rounds?
Jeez, I kind of forgot about the championship, to be honest. I was just on for a good night of racing. Yeah, seeing I was like 50 points behind. I just sort of had a good, like, I'd always have 1 or 2 good races and then have a stinker. The first weekend in Donington, I had a complete stinker all 3 races. But you don't really think too much about championships until you see the points and stuff. But for me, I'm just always going to try and finish as high up as I can.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you what the points are at the minute, but what I can tell you is next week we do head to Brands Hatch. It's a bit of a different circuit to this one, but is it one you like?
I do like Brands. I take it as a GP track. I actually really like the GP section. I really
like Indy.
Yeah, it will. Yeah, no comment. It'll be fun in these cars with the high-speed corners in the GP section, and you know, another place that's going to be very close with times, etc. So yeah, looking forward to that.
Ronan, congratulations. Thank you very much for joining us again, and yeah, fabulous performance this evening.
Cheers, lads. Thanks.
Let's hand it over to Kieran then with second place man, Sean McGoldrick.
Yes, I will not have this Brands Hatch Indy slander going on here. My local track.
These cars around Brands Hatch Indy would end up in a long evening for Rob Parks and Peter McCann.
Well, all I'm saying is make it happen. Sean McGoldrick joins us though for second place. Sean, up 17 places. That means you were right in the thick of it for the opening lap at the third and final heat. I mean, talk us through it from your point of view. Is that trying to like thread it through a needle?
Yeah, it was really, really difficult. I think I got a good launch. I think I got about 6 places naturally, and then there was another, I don't know, 10 places just threading my way through all the wreckage. But yeah, it was a really good first lap.
Really good first lap and a really good sort of penultimate lap, because we're just watching on your move here on Conor Melia for second place in this race down in towards Ravata. Talk us through it.
Yeah, it's really, really difficult there on the outside line, because that's where the rubber is. It's really slippery, but just at the end of the corner, whenever the normal dry line is to turn in, there's a little bit of grip on the outside. So I was trying to leave my braking more towards that, and I just survived. I was really happy to pull that off.
It's been a bit of a mixed evening for you, Sean. You've got a couple of podiums from tonight, race 2 to forget. But I mean, how do you sum up tonight?
Yeah, podium. Well, I didn't have the pace of the top guys. They were just on a completely different level in the wet. But I was pretty consistent. The middle one, I think Jordan got caught out. He was braking half on the rubber and half off the rubber, and the car just turned like a tank on track. So that's what went wrong in the second one.
And looking forward to next week, then we have Brands Hatch. How's that a track that treats you, Sean?
Yeah, I really like the Grand Prix track there. I'm not sure it's one of my best, but it's not too bad. Yeah, but guys like Jordan, Ronan, they've done it in real life. They're going to be at the top.
Well, we'll wait and see, Sean. Congratulations on your a couple of podiums for tonight, and we'll let you go and dry off now with a couple of towels, I'm sure.
Thanks.
Thank you, Sean McGoldrick. Second place in the final race. I'll hand it back now to Evan, who's going to drag Conor Melia in for a podium interview.
There's a joke in that last statement from you, Kieran, but I'm not going to mention it. Conor Melia, you're making a bit of a habit of getting podiums this week.
I am indeed. It's a good habit to be in.
You were looking under pressure from Dylan McClemens at one point there in that race, but you held off firmly. A great drive from you at the front. How did you find the conditions compared to some others? Because there was a lot who found it tricky out there.
Yeah, it was so hard. Drive, my hands are in bits from death gripping the wheel. First two races didn't go great. I think I was pushing a bit too hard. And once I kind of got my head around the driving at about 98%, it would get me further. I think in the second race, I started 16th, got up to 7th, spun out, was back down to 16th, and got back up to 7th to get onto the front row. So I knew I didn't have the pace of Ronan or whatever, but I knew if I could just keep it on the track, I'd go decently,
And then I know we said podiums this week have become a bit of a habit. They've become a little bit of a habit in RTA this season as well. You took one in the Nürburgring, narrowly missed out on a second in the Nürburgring. And then, of course, you took this one here this evening. So is podiums the goal maybe for the rest of the season?
Yeah, absolutely. The next few tracks are kind of up my alley. I like Brands. I've gone well at Hockenheim as well, and Long Beach. I've done a lot of IndyCar stuff. So Long Beach, I've driven a fair few laps of. So the kind of calendar does suit me a little bit. So fingers crossed, I'll be chatting to you again soon.
We hope we're chatting to you again soon, Conor. Congratulations on the podium tonight, and we wish you well for next week's races.
Thanks very much, lads.
So, Kieran, great to hear from the guys after this one. Okay, there's a car going in the back, and there. Poor Camto Chukwu has been flamed on the stream of Ronan Hederman. But great races, fairly chaotic, very difficult job on our hands now picking a driver of the day.
I think so, but listen, if you win, I've always said, try and avoid giving driver of the day to the race winner. But like I said with Jordan Kelly, when you win 3 races in a row and you win them at such a distance, I mean, what was it? It was 13, 15, 20? Was it roughly that sort of margin to second place? When you win like that in conditions like these, I don't think there's many other candidates you can have. There's been some great honourable mentions all the way around. Sean McGoldrick's move around the outside of Conor Melia is well up there. But it's the fact that so many drivers had so much mayhem and all sorts of up and down the orders. The fact that Ronan Doherty pretty much locked in first place all the way through tonight is a strong reason why he's my driver of the day.
I do agree that he probably is the traditional driver of the day candidate, but I like to be the voice of reason here.
Go on.
I'm gonna give another shout that I think is deserved. Although race 3 went a little bit haywire, potentially not due to his own fault, I think Brian McManus is a strong candidate.
Yeah, you know what? That is a very good voice of reason.
Don't get me wrong, 3 races for Ronan, really impressive, but has he not won enough tonight?
That's true. That is true, and that's why you have to. I struggle. I struggle, but to resist, try and give it to a triple winner. I mean, yeah. Let's think about it then. Brian McManus, where did he qualify? He qualified 11th place, I believe.
Just another voice of reason, actually, Kieran, from Kevin Joyce. He says Ronan Doherty head and shoulders above the rest. Just to clear up to the other viewers, we both agree. But I like to give some of the underdogs a bit of a shout. Sean McGoldrick, he has said Conor Melia and Brian McManus. Lawrence DeSauce, honourable mention. Yes, even if Lawrence doesn't take our overall Gantry TV driver of the day, I do want to give a shout out to Lawrence, who was driving with pretty much one hand and I assume live streaming at the same time. Very impressive job, Lawrence. Congratulations, and I do hope that arm is recovering well. So, a couple of good shouts there from Kevin. And Kevin, a big thanks to you for staying with us throughout the course of the evening. We greatly appreciate your comments and thoughts on the race because, let's be real, they're probably worth more than mine are half the time. But Ronan Doherty, head and shoulders above the rest, but I think Brian McManus is my candidate.
You know what? We've gone with me on a couple of occasions. I'm happy to go with you, Brian McManus. The fact of the matter is, he managed. Let's see. In the first race, he finished fourth. Second race, he finished fourth. Third race, as you say, got into a bit of a moments there and finished. But also recovered to 12th place. I'm happy to go with you. I'm happy to put my vote to Brian McManus.
Brian McManus, driver of the day here on the broadcast. Congratulations. Wow, Ronan Hederman had that graphic made quickly. But,
we did spend about 5 minutes talking about it, so
yeah,
he had plenty of time.
Yeah.
He's just listening to us fight. Yeah, true.
Yeah, he's like a couples counsellor tonight almost with the bit of scrapping going on in the commentary box. But yeah, as you can see, that drift showcasing the talent once again from Brian McManus. Stick him in a Super or something at Drift Masters this weekend. But Kieran, I think that pretty much rounds up what's been a fairly hectic evening. A great one at that, though. I tell you what, I've thoroughly enjoyed tonight, and I mean that.
Yeah, it's been great. I mean, we've seen Ronan Doherty absolutely storming away at the front. We've seen some brilliant racing, some brilliant overtakes in these treacherous conditions. We've seen plenty of spins, and it's just a little bit of encouragement that the fact that some of the top runners in the championship, sometimes when the water gets thrown onto the circuit, sometimes it is just a lot. It's these treacherous conditions can catch anybody out. And Ronan Doherty, as we said, head and shoulders above everybody else. A hat trick of victories for Ronan will do himself wonders in the championship hunt as we head to the final few rounds of the season. That's how they looked before the the start of tonight's proceedings. But next week, we go to my home track, Brands Hatch, for the pre-penultimate race of the season. And you won't want to miss that. Brands is a fantastic track.
Yeah, he's on commission, lads, by the way.
I am, yeah. Apologies.
Absolute commission. Although I'm probably on commission from the Dylan McClemens fan club at this point, so
yes.
Eye for an eye, as they say. But folks, thank you very much for joining us tonight. As you can see at the top of the race calendar, every Tuesday at 9 p.m, Brands Hatch, Hockenheim, Long Beach. By the way, Long Beach is probably going to be even more chaotic than tonight. That's a class one. Whoever put that on the calendar for the season finale. You don't want to miss it. You simply do not want to miss it. Gantry TV, you know where to find us. RTAvirtualmotorsport.com if you're interested in joining future series. There'll be some big news in the next few weeks about that future series, so you want to make sure you're keeping up to that. The endurance series ongoing as well. Make sure you get yourselves entered into that, yourself and a friend. And from myself, Evan Dalton, Kieran McGinley, and of course the fabulous Ronan Hederman behind the scenes, thank you very much for watching. Stay safe, stay well, and it's long to fall.